Hi guys! Whatever time you are watching this video, I hope you are in a good condition. This is Cabrera and I will be discussing to you the remaining parts of Chapter 8. So earlier, my groupmates have already discussed to you the first parts of the financial reporting and management reporting systems of this module. So ngayon naman, I will be discussing to you the remaining, the responsibility accounting and the data analytics and ad hoc reporting. So let's start with the discussion of responsibility accounting. We can remember that in our previous subjects, we have already encountered this term. But siguro, hindi natin siya masyadong napagtuunan ng pansin. But don't worry because sa discussion na ito, bibigyan natin siya ng kahulugan at aalamin kung paano ba nito naaapektuhan ng MRS at ang management as a whole. So let's start. Responsibility accounting is actually a large part of management reporting. It implies that every economic event that affects the organization is the responsibility of and can be traced to an individual manager. So, what does this mean? Ang responsibility accounting daw ay yung system na nagko-collect, nagsa-summarize at nagre-report ng data relating to the responsibilities ng individual managers. It provides information para ma-evaluate or ma-assess yung managers on the revenue and costs na nasa authority nila or in their control. Kaya nga sabi rito, it personalizes performance by saying to the manager, this is your original budget and this is how your performance for the period compares to your budget. So sa responsibility accounting, titingnan kung paano ba i-handle ni manager ang budget na inilaan for their department at kung yung performance ba na magagawa nila is in compliance or sakto lang sa budget nila. Pero mula sa term mismo na responsibility, syempre kailangan mo nang tingnan ano ba yung line of work ni manager para ma-identify kung anong expenditures lang yung in control sila. So magbibigay ako ng sample para mas maintindihan. Si John ay manager ng department na nagpre-prepare ng cost budget sa department. So, ang responsibility ngayon ni John is to keep the budgets under control. So, ngayon, kakailanganin ni John ng full information ng mga cost na na-incur ng department niya. In case na yung costs are more than the budgeted costs or let's say the actual costs is greater than the budgeted costs, hahanapin ngayon ni A yung mga dahilan bakit lumagpas sa budgeted costs yung na-incur ng department nila. At kapag nahanap niya na, syempre responsibility niya rin to take corrective measures. So from that example, we can conclude that John is personally responsible for the performance of his department. Syempre, di ba, kung ikaw ang boss ng company mo, iisa-isahin mo ba yung mga employee mo? Given na marami sila, di ba? Syempre, doon ka na sa manager ng department na yun sasangguni. Kasi hawak niya naman yung responsibility sa pagtingin-tingin or pagbantay or pag-gather ng info about the performance ng department na yun. So, let's proceed. The flow of information in responsibility systems is both downward and upward. Ano ba ang difference ng dalawang direction na to? When we say downward kasi or pababa, nanggagaling yan sa top management, from a superior to a subordinate. Si company leader, magta-transmit yan ng info in the form of pwedeng budget, quotas, goals, and instructions. Patungo yan sa lower level of employees. On the other hand naman, kapag sinabing upward, it is from a subordinate to a superior. Dito na ngayon pumapasok yung mga reports na ipinapasa ng mga nasa baba patungo sa kanilang higher up. So it's all about their performance for that given period. So these top-down and bottom-up information represent the two phases of responsibility accounting. Number one is to create a set of financial performance goals or budgets pertinent to the manager's responsibilities. And number two, reporting and measuring actual performance as compared to these goals. So let's begin discussing the first phase, which is to set financial goals through a budget process. The budget process helps management achieve its financial objectives by establishing measurable goals for each organizational segment. So dito sa phase na ito pumapasok si budgeting. And alam naman natin na it plays a vital role in achieving the overall goals of the organization. So itong budget process na to, it is where we put the budget in place. So saan ba ilalaan si budget na to? Anong transaction ng paggagamitan? And so on and so forth. So it involves planning and forecasting, pwede ring implementing, pati ang monitoring and controlling and evaluating the performance related sa budget na yon. So this mechanism conveys to the segment managers the standards that senior managers will use for measuring their performance. This flows downward and becomes increasingly detailed as it moves to lower levels of management. So itong phase na ito, yung sa top-down flow of information, sabi nga, 'di ba, si higher up or si top management magbababa yan ng information through budgets patungo sa lower level of managers. Dito na rin pumapasok sa eksena yung planned and actual financial information in which yung difference nila ay magkukos ng variance. Kaya responsibility pa rin ni manager na sikaping nakaangkla sa budget nila yung mga ginagawa ng department nila and to ensure that their actions would be of advantage in attaining the goals of the organization. Next, measuring and reporting performance. So, simple lang naman ang sinasabi nito. Yung mga managers daw, magpapasa yan ng mga responsibility report sa mga senior level of management. Kaya siya bottom-up flow. Ang pagkakaiba lang ng dalawa is that iyong sa budget, habang pababa ng pababa, nagiging detailed ang information. Dito naman sa pag-report ng performance, nagiging summarized siya yung mga information habang papunta sa taas. So, yun yung dalawang flow ng information sa responsibility accounting. So, let's proceed naman to the responsibility centers. When we say responsibility centers, we are actually referring to the different segments, units, divisions, or departments sa isang organization. Itong mga responsibility center na ito, hindi siya under control ni head ng firm. Pero may itatalaga siya na manager to oversee that responsibility center. So, siya ngayon yung may control ng activities ng department, segment, unit, o division ng organization na yon. In short, yung responsibility centers ay sub-units ng organization. The most common forms of responsibility centers ay sina cost centers, profit centers, and investment centers. So, simulan natin ngayon yan kay cost center. So, what is a cost center? Simple lang naman, isa itong unit ng organization na ang hawak lang o ang responsibilidad niya lang ay sa mga nai-incur na cost ni business. So, hindi niya papakialaman kung paano nag-generate ng income or kung saan gagamitin ang assets. Ang titingnan niya lang ay yung sa cost mismo. Na-evaluate ngayon yung performance ng isang cost center through the comparison of the budgeted and actual costs. So, for example, a production department may be responsible for meeting its production obligation while keeping the production costs, the labor, the materials, and the overhead within the budgeted amount. So, merong budgeted amount si production depth. Ngayon, sisiguraduhin niya na habang ina-achieve nila yung production obligation nila, dapat na-attain nila yung budgeted amount. Hindi kukulang kasi magiging inefficient at hindi rin dapat susobra kasi baka may kupitang nagaganap. So, yun yung cost center. Ang profit center naman ay responsible for both cost control and revenue generation. Kailangan silang tutukan or i-monitor kasi syempre 'di ba, profit na yung usapan eh. Yun yung magiging key driver para makita kung kumusta na si organization nyo. Pero bakit cost control pati yun hawak nila? Hindi ba at sa income statement pa expenses na line item doon? So para makita kung magkano ang magiging net income or net loss ni business, kailangan alam ni manager ng profit center kung magkanong revenue na yung naiipon nila at the same time, kailangan niya ring malaman kung magkanong expenses na pala yung nai-incur nila para mapagbangga nila kung sakto lang ba yung dami ng expenses na i-incur nila kumpara sa revenue na naiipon nila. So, for example daw, itong si local manager ng isang national department store ay responsible sa pagde-decide kung anong items ng merchandise yung bibilhin nila for their inventory. Magkanong prices yung ito-charge. Tapos ano yung kind ng promotional activities na gagawin for the products, kung anong level of advertising, marketing nila, the size of the staff and the hiring of employees, and even the building maintenance and limited capital improvements. Ang investment center naman ay unit ng business na responsible sa revenue, expenses, assets, or overall sa mga decisions na makakaapekto sa business. So this management or the management evaluates them based on its return on investment through increasing sales, reducing expenses, reducing investment in assets, at iba pa. So for an example, assume that a division of a corporation is an investment center with the objective of maximizing the return on its investment assets. The division manager's range of responsibilities includes cost management, product development, marketing, distribution, and capital disposition through investments of funds in projects and ventures that earn a desired rate of return. So that is investment center. So dadako naman tayo ngayon sa behavioral considerations. Let's begin with the goal congruence. Ang sinasabi lang ng goal congruence ay that situation wherein the people in an organization share the same goal. Like even nasa magkakaibang unit kayo pero nagko-coincide pa rin yung mga goals nyo, and that is to serve the best interest of the organization. The next one naman is the information overload, na kung saan si manager ay nakaka-receive ng more information than he or she can assimilate. This happens when designers of the reporting system do not properly consider the manager's organizational level and span of control. Gaya nga ng sabi ko kanina, yung uri ng info na i-transmit mo is depende sa level ng manager na pagbibigyan mo. Like this example, consider the information volume that would flow to the president if the reports were not properly summarized. The details required by lower-level managers would quickly overload the president's decision-making process. Although the report may have many of the information attributes discussed earlier, it may be useless if not properly summarized. So again, sabi ko kanina, kung yung information is mula sa subordinate papunta sa superior, kailangang summarized yung information na ibibigay mo. While kung ang flow of information is from the superior patungo sa subordinates, ang uri ng information na ibibigay mo is detailed. Kasi kailangan nandun lahat ng details na kakailanganin ng subordinates to operate and to do the performance. One purpose of a report is to stimulate behavior consistent with the objectives of the firm. When inappropriate performance measures are used, the report can have the opposite effect. Inappropriate performance measures daw can cause havoc lalo na kung hindi natugma sa objectives ng firm. Lalo pa at nagkakos siya sa mga managers to respond sa mga situations incorrectly and continue to reinforce undesirable behavior. Let us now proceed to the fifth topic of Chapter 8, which is about the data analytics and ad hoc reporting. Data analytics is the process of examining datasets in order to find trends and draw conclusions about the information they contain. It represents a significant departure from the traditional structured reporting na discussed earlier sa previous parts ng chapter. Managers daw kasi cannot always anticipate what information they need, like requiring them to get info in large volumes, in unstructured formats, on short notice, and in this topic, may encounter natin yung dalawang approaches to address these problems. The first one is the small data analytics. It characterizes techniques that employ data that are in a format and of a volume that allows them to be analyzed and acted upon by traditional technologies. Nagproproduce siya ng information na nagsosolve ng specific problem or answering a specific question. A central feature of this small data analytics is the data warehouse. It is a database constructed for quick searching, retrieval, ad hoc queries, and ease of use. It is to archive data. Ang laman nito ay mga operational data about current transactions, pati na rin mga events na naganap years ago. It is very convenient kasi lalo na kung may kakailanganin si manager, tas kung traditional tayo, hanap pa siya sa file cabinet. Unlike dito sa data warehouse na designed talaga for quick searching and ease of use. Yung mga data na nakastore dito ay coded para mas madaling ma-identify yung mga recurring events. Ngayon, yung mga data na yon ay nilalabas to support management reporting through data mining. Itong si data mining naman yung process ng pag-select, pag-explore at pag-model ng data to uncover relationships and global patterns. From the word itself, mining, minimina nila yung mga data para ma-reveal yung mga nakastore sa data warehouse. May two general models ang technique na ito, the verification model and the discovery model. So let's start with the verification model. So it is a drill down technique to either verify or reject a user's hypothesis. Si data mining software daw, i-examine niya ngayon yung mga data from the warehouse and i-compare niya sa event na gagawin ni manager or ni user. Kung hindi tugma, mare-reject. Kung tugma, edi accept. Example, si marketing manager need niya ma-identify yung target market para sa ad campaign ng bagong product. The data mining software will examine the firm's historical customer sales and demographic information or yung mga lumang info para ma-reveal yung mga characteristic na pare-pareho nilang pinopossess. If ever na mahanap yung characteristics na yon, gagamitin yun para makafocus sila sa promotion campaign kasi may idea na sila anong behavior ng mga buyers nila dati. The discovery model naman uses data mining to discover previously unknown but important information that is hidden within the data. Halimbawa nito ay yung pag-identify ng buying patterns ng customers para makagain ng understanding about their behavior. Dito, hindi ka driven ng kung anumang hypothesis or mga need. Sadyang kailangan mo lang i-understand yung behavior ng customers nyo. So from the word itself, discover, may kailangan kang i-discover at gagamitin mo si data mining to explore that data. Big data analytics was introduced in 1941 and madami siyang pinagdaanang redefinitions. Its current rendition daw is characterized by 3 V's, the volume, velocity, and variety. When we say volume, it involves terabytes, petabytes, and exabytes of data. Volume is yung dami or bigat ng data na kinakailangan mo. It comes from customer sales records, voice and text log files, stored images, and speech-to-text data from call center recordings. Often, the top users ng big data na ganito is the marketing, executive management, and finance. The next V naman is velocity, which refers to speed at which big data must be analyzed. So ang keyword lang natin dito is velocity. Gaano raw kabilis na ma-analyzed si data. And the last V is the variety, in which it is the primary driver of volume. So 'di ba, matatandaan na si volume ay yung dami ng data. Ngayon naman papasok sa eksena si variety. Sa dami ng data na yon, iisa lang ba ang kinakailangan? Of course not. It varies depende sa kung anong hanap ng user. Kaya siya primary driver ng volume dahil sa magkakaibang information needs ng user and sa dami ng data na kinakailangan. Mayroong 4 sources of business intelligence ang big data management reporting systems. Unahin na natin si prescriptive analytics. It tells the user what actions should be taken in response to specific questions. Prescriptive prescription, nagsasabi siya ano yung mga dapat gawin. Example, sa healthcare. Every time we go see a doctor, after the check-up, nagbibigay siya ng prescription, right? And we know that such prescription is for our own sake. Then, the next one is the predictive analytics. It encompasses a variety of statistical techniques that draw upon current and past data to calculate the statistical likelihood of future scenarios occurring. From the word itself, predictive, you are to predict. Again, example, sa healthcare, we are having this in order for us to identify or determine kung at risk na tayo sa mga sakit sa puso and all. Descriptive analytics naman is a mathematical process that describes real-world events and the relationships between factors responsible for them. It is useful for management to learn from data about historic events and understand how these can affect future outcomes. It creates a summary of historical data rather than interpret it. Last, diagnostic analytics techniques view past performance to determine why something happened the way it did. Sabi, hindi naman nakikita ni management ang problema. Nakikita lang nila yung mga sintomas. So, bago mo malaman anong problema, hindi bang na-identify mo muna is yung mga symptoms. Once ma-identify mo na yung mga sintomas na yun, maaari mo nang gawan ng paraan to resolve this issue bago pa mapunta sa mas malalang problema. In this section naman, we will be discussing about the risks and controls related to big data analytics. Let's have the first one is about the data security. The risk na maaaring kaharapin ng big data analytics is about the data security. Since we are looking for big data, nagpo-provide siya ng big target for hackers. Siyempre, di ba, since nasa technology na yung mga data na ginagamit natin, mas magkakaroon ng easier access sa mga hackers na ma-open or ma-access yung mga big data or yung mga data na nakastore sa ating organization. And we all know that security is an extensive body of material involving a combination of technologies and procedures. So, in the succeeding parts, makikita natin paano natin maiiwasan itong pagkakaroon ng mga hackers na ito. First control is firewalls. Simple lang naman ang sinasabi nito. Yung mga validated users ay idediretso niya sa application or sa data na kinakailangan. Kung hindi siya validated, then mare-reject. In short, yung mga papayagan lang or bibigyan lang ng access control ay yung mga validated or yung authorized people. Dito naman sa access privileges, ang sinasabi niya lang, since may mga employees na nabibigyan ng pribilehiyong i-access ang mga data, ngayon, ang gagawin is to implement formal procedures para mag-assign ng access privilege ng naaayon sa pangangailangan ng user, and kailangan ding i-review periodically yung mga existing employee privileges kung tama ba na may privilege siya or mali. Dahil nagkakaroon minsan ng mistaken granting ng excessive access privileges sa mga tao na hindi naman dapat bigyan. Next one is the password control. Itong part na to is paulit-ulit na natin siyang nadidiscuss dati. Yung mga organizations, minsan maglalagay sila ng strong passwords. Kung hindi strong passwords, kailangan na papalitan siya periodically para hindi may spread yung password na yun, at kung sakali mang ma-spread, at least magkaroon sila ng control sa kung sino lamang yung gagamit. And minsan nagkakaroon ng one-time password system or yung OTP para minsan lang siya magamit, at minsan randomly generated every 60 seconds, and nagagamit lang siya once during that 1 minute time frame. So this approach has proven to be a very effective access control method, lalo na against sa mga hackers. Next control is the system audit trails. These are logs that record activity at the system, application, and user level. Marami daw silang gamit pero para magamit siya as a security device, na mamonitor niya yung user activity at the lowest level of detail. This capability will often deter illegal behavior and prevent unauthorized access. So individuals are less likely to violate an organization's security policy when they know that their actions are recorded in an audit log. So ang sinasabi lang nito sa system audit trails na mamonitor yung mga activities ng mga users, and syempre para maiwasan yung mga unauthorized access, nare-record yung mga activities na ito. And syempre, sino bang hindi matatakot kung may makakaalam kung ano yung mga ginagawa. So that's the system audit trails. To mitigate the risks of having a flawed strategic decision making, the external auditors of the service providers and sub-service providers may issue a statement on standards for attestation engagements number 16 or SSAE 16 report to the auditors of the client company. This SSAE 16 is a definitive standard by which the client firm's auditors can determine whether the controls that the third-party service provided are free from material weaknesses. So, ang control na to, ang ginagawa niya is to identify or determine kung yung mga control ba na ini-implement ng isang organization ay free from material weaknesses. At kung meron mang weaknesses, syempre aagapan. So this would be discussed in chapter 14 for a broader discussion. Ayan, that ends our discussion on chapter 8, financial reporting and management reporting systems. Thank you for listening and watching. I hope you gained something from us. Good day.